So, um, so today we're gonna be talking more about what happens when you're not ready for PvP. So, what kind of situations can that be? So, we have solo dungeons, we have group dungeons, we have just gathering, we have transporting, and do we have much of anything else?
Stragglers.
I guess stragglers, if you're in a big group and you get a straggler. But that's mostly it. I would like to speak about all of these different places of content and how you can prevent from dying and maybe even winning or just surviving overall. So first of all, solo dungeons. It's probably everyone's done solo dungeon at some point, since most of you are new players and there's some old players as well who played when there were no solo dungeons, which was a very interesting time of saving up, I assume. So, solo dungeons, the one major tip I would say is to look at your build first and know what your build can do. If you're just, say, fame farming with a great axe and like a merc jacket and a scholar sandal or a scholar cowl, that's build is basically just made for killing mobs yourself. Um, in a situation that a group of people dives you, one person, two people, three people, you might get overwhelmed. Even in a 1v1, I think a great axe build can easily be a diver if you have prepared yourself well. So one thing in solo dungeons I would say is always use a cabbage soup, and after using the cabbage soup, equip like your other food. So like equip a beef stew or an omelet, so that if you do get dove, you can eat that food and you have a better chance of fighting against the divers because they're obviously going to be using some kind of food, and if you don't have some other food, you're going to be at a huge disadvantage by over 10%. So another great example is bring some invisibility potions with you into solo dungeons. They can really save you your ass if you don't actually want to fight anything. So as soon as you see a name on at the edge of your screen, just make sure, even if you're not paying attention, try to, as soon as you see the player coming at you, try to invis pot and either go deeper into the dungeon or just run at them and just go past them and then A out or run to the entrance. I would suggest more running at them because they might think you invis towards the mobs more likely. Okay, so solo dungeon builds. Obviously, if you go to do some solo dungeons, you should try and not just build yourself with like scholar scholar cowl or like other items that you can't go to PvP with. Okay, one thing I would like to do actually, if you are online and if you're not busy or anything, just come to Maga Island and bring like a solo dungeon build that you would normally do solo dungeons with, and I'll see if I could somehow make those builds a bit better. So I would like you guys to come to Maga Island and bring some kind of solo dungeon build if you can. And let me know if you are coming so that I know if how many people were coming. Okay, so Immortal is coming. I usually go solo dungeons. Yes, that is perfect. So Katniss, yeah, just if you have time, just come to the MAGA Guild Island with your solo dungeon build, and we'll just quickly take a look at people's solo dungeon builds. Alright.
With the changing your food from cabbage soup to something else, make sure that if you are going to invis, pop the invis before you eat the new food so that you get your insta heal to reset yourself before you eat your new food.
That is true. So if you use the invis pot, you're obviously instantly gonna go out of combat and you're gonna activate the cabbage soup. But usually, if you use invis potions, you are not gonna be fighting people, because you would normally have healing potions if you are actually wanting to fight people. But yeah, it's still a good thing to make sure that you use the invis pot and then change your food after that. So Pruish is here. We'll check his build. My inspect key is not working. All right. So this is a pretty solid build. There's no cape, but that's fine. One obviously I would probably be using a Limhurst cape with this. Other than that, it's pretty good for solo clearing. I've used a similar build myself a lot. It has solid sustain even if you go to 1v1s, and you get your energy back even though you're doing solos. And if you're using a Limhurst cape, you don't actually lose that much energy, especially since you would normally be running a scholar cal to get the energy back. But Guardian Helmet is a great choice for doing solo dungeons. Just looking at Vuln real quick, I guess. So also Scholar Sandals, great getting energy back. Limhurst Cape, get energy back. Uh, One thing about Merc Jacket, I would never use it when killing mobs. I would always save it if you're getting dove, so that you can use it on the people that are diving you. Yeah, Infernal Scythe, amazing clear speed. Uh, Probably, I would probably use the same passives and skills. Raging Blades, obviously amazing. If you can't use Raging Blades, then Internal Bleeding is also amazing, which is the damage when people are moving. And Adrenaline Boost if you can't use that either. Obviously the AoE Q, and yeah. Let's look at Katniss. Katniss is here. Okay, so Demon Boots, amazing against running away. You have the Scholar Cal again with the Limhurst Cape. Limhurst Cape is great when you need energy. Um, Hellion Jacket. Hellion Jacket can be good, but usually you're gonna get dove by either one person or two people, so you're not gonna get like the full value out of the Hellion Jacket. So I would almost suggest swapping that to a Merc Jacket if you're going solo. So yeah, Scholar Cal, like I said, Scholar Cal is a fine choice, but you're not gonna get that Guardian Helmet heal. Use the Hellion because you might run the mobs and heal on them all. Yeah, but you should always be using a cabbage soup, and you shouldn't be. There should never be a situation in a dungeon that you can't clear mobs without like a Hellion Jacket or something. Especially when you're using some kind of axe, you can AoE a lot and just burst the mobs and then continue. You really don't need the Hellion Jacket. It's a bit overkill, in my opinion. Demon Boots, great for running away, and yeah, I would definitely recommend using Demon Boots. They're a bit underrated right now, but they're gaining a lot of popularity right now. So if you're lower HP, you can run away faster and you can deal a bit more damage, even if you're like doing a boss fight or something. Yeah, I would probably only swap the Hellion Jacket to like a Merc Jacket or even an Assassin Jacket if you want, but I would recommend Merc Jacket if you're going solo dungeons. And I mean, Scholar Cal is fine, especially since you don't have a Scholar Sandal, so you get the extra energy. Okay, let's look at Immortal next. So this is Immortals. I assume this is for solo dungeons.
Sometimes yes.
Hmm?
Sometimes yes.
Sometimes yes. Okay, so solo dungeons. I don't think the Demon Cape is good at all. It does more damage to players than it does to mobs, so I don't think this is a very good option. I think you might want either a Limhurst Cape or an Undead Cape, but you already have the Scholar Sandals, so maybe you don't need the Limhurst Cape. You're using good passives, yeah, you're getting the energy back with auto attacks, that's good. So in that case, I would probably use the Undead Cape or even Thetford Cape for the little bit of extra damage. I would not use Demon Cape in Soul Dungeons at all. Cleric Robe, excellent choice. Mage Cal is good. It's also good if you're getting Dove, so you can deal damage back to the enemy. And yeah, so you're already swapping builds, so I won't talk about that more. Voln, yeah, basic ass riding build, super solid. Especially with Thorns and the self heal. You most likely won't die, especially with the Calmness passive. And you also get the the blink boots. Not sure about the blink. I mean, one knows what he's doing, so it doesn't really matter. Mage Robe, I love Mage Robe. I feel like a lot more people should start using Mage Robe because it's just such an underlooked piece of armor because it can purge anything. It can purge the Merc Jacket. It can purge the Cleric Robe. It can purge a Hunter Hood. It can purge so many things, and it's definitely an armor piece that new players sleep on, and they don't really know and understand how powerful it is. It also gives the highest physical and magical ability bonuses and attack bonuses. So it's the best armor piece for dealing the most damage in the game, on top of Cultist Robe, I believe. So Purge, very good, very amazing skill. Please start using Mage Robe and start learning how to use Mage Robe. Yeah, I don't think the Blink Shoes, I would probably not use the Blink Shoes. I'd probably even Run is better. I would probably use Scholar Sandals with Wolm's build since this looks a bit, you might run out of energy at some point, especially if you're using the Calmness, since you won't get the energy back. W gives energy, does it? No, it does. Oh shit. But yeah, I guess. Okay. I would probably even use Demon Boots with this build, since your Thorns, you're not going to be able to chase players, so I would say Demon Boots is probably the best with this, since you're not going to be able to chase players anyway and kill them. Who else is Terror in the Discord? He is, okay. So this is the Meatball build. Meatball being the Wildfire Staff, so it's a big ball of fire which looks like a meatball and does a good amount of damage. It's a cheap option for Soul Dungeon if you want to level up your artifact fire. So that's actually a very good choice in my opinion if you want to level up artifact fire, since you what's sort of the blazing and brimstone. Brimstone you don't want to use in solos, and blazing also you don't really want to use in solos. It's blazing is too much of a people can see the AoE very easily, and it's not as good in my opinion for solo dungeons at the very least. Brimstone as well, it's very slow, and yeah, it's more for ZVZ. Who are we looking at? Terror? Where's Terror? Okay. I think you have maybe a little bit too much energy here, especially you have the good Q, Fireball. If you can use the Fire Artillery, I would use the Fire Artillery, and if you're getting Dove, I would maybe swap to Wall of Flames if possible. You may also want to always use Wall of Flames instead. Yeah, I believe you have a bit
Yeah,
too
it's really
much.
good for intros there, the wall flame.
Yeah,
I used to use Graveguard Helm. I'm not too sure what else to use there.
yeah, I think you have a bit too much energy since you have three pieces of equipment that give you energy, I would probably drop either the Scholar Cow. Yeah, probably drop the Scholar Cow in my opinion for something else.
Like a mage cowl, I guess.
Yeah, a Mage Cow, but I think a Mage Cow still could be not the best. Let's quickly check some armor pieces. You could use a Hunter Hood, you could use a Guardian Helmet, Hunter Hood. Yeah, you could even use Cultist. You could even use a Cleric Cow. To be honest, I would probably use a Guardian Helmet with your build
Oh, okay.
instead of the Scholar Cow. It's just a solid heal and yeah, too much energy. Offhand, I'm not sure about the offhand. Offhand can be super good.
Yeah, just for CDs.
Yeah. Hmm. I mean, yeah, it's solid. I mean, the best offhand would obviously be Taproot, but that's a bit eh. But yeah, the Mist Color helps you with clear speeds, and it's overall super solid. Alright. Yeah, I would just swap the helmet to a guard helmet.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Alright, Jord. Not sure if... Do you have any energy problems with this build?
No,
You don't?
I just use the Scholar Robe, so I don't have much energy problem.
I mean, the Scholar Robe doesn't really give you energy, though.
No, it saves energy, so
Oh,
I
it reduces the
can,
energy cost. Right,
yeah.
okay. So, yeah, yeah, again, Wall of Flames, you might have want to have that preemptively, or Fire Artillery. Both are amazing choices. Yeah, Invis Potion, great. Yeah, Food, solid. Thetford Cape, yeah, good. I like the Guardian Helmet. Boots, yeah, you just need the extra energy, so you get that extra energy from the boots. Yeah, I would say there's nothing really wrong with this build. I think this build's fine.
Yeah, I don't use the boots that much because I don't run out of energy,
Yeah, okay.
but
Yeah, but if you ever
sometimes
do
I
run
do.
out of energy, then you can always use the Scholar Sandals.
Okay.
Yeah, seems not bad. Who else do we have still here? Yeah, I mean, Immortal is using the good old Permafrost build, which is solid for clearing. Okay, do you guys have any questions so far that you would like to ask at any kind of aspects? I'll take that as a no. Alright, so obviously gathering, you're always going to be using a Bloodletter, that's pretty obvious. Bloodletter and a Mistcaller.
Um, I'm using double-bladed stuff now.
I mean that's also fine. Like any kind of mobility weapon, as long as you don't use like a longbow or some other kind of weapon that doesn't really give you mobility. The thing with double bladed, um, not sure, but I feel like the E might get you in combat sometimes, but so does the
Uh,
bloodletter. But I feel like the bloodletter, if you use W and then E, you usually don't get into combat with anyone because you can jump away from the people and then use the E freely and not hit anyone. Unlike the double bladed
uh,
where you can maybe hit the E on something.
yeah, the E of the double-bladed only hit the landing spot.
Yeah, yeah.
I think since they nerfed the Bloodletter cooldowns recently, the one-handed mace is actually not bad option
The one-handed
cooldown
mace.
wise.
Okay. Let's see what does the one-handed mace do? That was
It's got a
the
big jump.
big boy jump. Yeah,
So it's 11 and 14 meters with I think they're roughly the same
yeah.
cooldowns as the
25,
Bloodletter.
25-second cooldown. But again, with the snare charge, like it can hit something, so that can
Mm-hmm.
put you into combat. But it can also help you by rooting the enemy, if that's a possibility.
Vaughn, did you say 11 meters?
For the W, yeah. I think
Yep.
the E is 14, right?
Yeah,
Those are
W
pretty
is-
magic numbers because a lot of weapons stop at 9 meters,
Yeah,
which is why the nerf on the Bloodletter was pretty brutal because it
Yeah.
moved them inside of the range of some stuff. So
yeah,
11 meters is pretty big.
yeah. So the W on Butler is 8 meters, and the E is 13 meters. So yeah, that's a bit less than the.
Yeah, the for the crescent slash is 15 meters and 15-second cooldown
Okay.
compared to the bloodletter, which is 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's actually pretty solid. And then you would probably use the stun run. Or...
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. But as long as you're using some kind of mobility because you don't want to get caught, basically. If you get caught, you're dead. um, yeah, I don't really think I have to touch that much on gathering since people already know like what to use when gathering mostly. Um, group dungeons, I would like to say that the first thing if you get contact, please try not to panic. The biggest thing is panicking and dying that way. So the first thing if you hear contact is either try to quickly kill the mobs that you're fighting or leash them if they're too high HP. And as soon as you've done that, or if they're already on you, you just want to try and focus a target, get someone to call, and just because gankers usually when they dive group dungeons they aren't always prepared to get fought back, but they usually are. So if you can have a group composition that is ready for getting dove, then you shouldn't have much of a problem against divers. Obviously, if they're gonna dive you with like double your numbers, then that's a bit f. But you should try to at least fight back and get the experience of fighting. So it'll always help you on the next time you get dove or in other kind of PvP interactions. So say we have 5 people, three DPS, 1 healer, 1 tank. You want to try and keep your healer alive and leash or like peel for your healer so that your healer does not get absolutely stomped by CC and absolutely just destroyed by damage. Because gankers usually try and go for the healer first or some kind of squishy target. So yeah, just try and peel for your healer. Another tip is don't be stacked up. Spread out. Don't let them AoE you down. Since a lot of the time people will just panic and just like spin in circles, so you might just stack up and get killed by one Camlan or one Grove Keeper and instantly just die from that. So be spread out. That's gonna be a very important tip. Also, one thing if you're doing group dungeons, be ready for getting dove. Don't be like you don't know like what's gonna happen if you get dove. Yeah, I mean if while you're doing the group dungeon itself, position is gonna be important. Don't best just be. Yeah, I mean obviously whenever you're doing a group dungeon, don't clump. Just how do I say this? Just try to
Don't
always yeah. Try to always
don't make yourself an easy target, right?
yeah, basically. Don't like just even if no one's diving you, try to practice like not being at the same spot. Just try to practice being a bit spread out. So if you do get dove, you're not gonna get all stunned by one Grove Keeper and die.
And if you can, practice pushing past the mob that you're fighting.
Yeah.
so that it's easy for the tank to engage them, and he's the first contact instead of the backline being the first contact. If the healer's the first thing that they see, who are they going to hit?
The healer. Yeah. So yeah, try and practice all kinds of hmm. Also, like when you're doing group dungeons, you're obviously not gonna have much of single target skills. You're gonna have AoE skills, for example, Permafrost, Badambo, Blazing Staff. Uh, in a comp like that, try and isolate, or like maybe not isolate, that's probably a strong word, but try and focus a target. Maybe get the tank to use like a. I mean, if he gets lucky, you might be able to air compress them all, and maybe a Permafrost can get a lucky E or a good E on them. So make sure to not waste your skills. Just like throw your skills at something, and save your skills when you actually get the full benefit of it. Yeah, no problem, Sergeant.
Coco.
It's like if you got people have any comments or anything, like this is a community, we try to help each other. Um, just trying to make MAGA a bit better overall in PvP. And obviously, if you ever have any kind of questions, just feel free to ask me. I'm always here, and feel free to PM me on Discord or anything. What else could we think about? Well, transporting. Transporting is a thing that a lot of people do daily. One thing would obviously the easiest way to transport is if you get some people from the guild or your friends and ask them if they can help you transport. And if they do help you transport, make sure that if they're scouting ahead, that they're at least one screen ahead of you, but they're still ready to help you if in case that there's somehow you get ganked in between the scout and the transport. So the transport usually should have some kind of plate armor with a forged sterling cape, and try not to if you have to use a mount that gives carry weight, try to use a mount that doesn't lose the carry weight when you get dismounted. So that if you do get dismounted, you're just not instantly dead. So either spread out the load, make more trips, or yeah, just use some kind of mount that you don't lose the carry weight if you get dismounted. So I was talking about the gear when you're transporting. So yeah, try to use plate armor. A great setup is you can use Spectre shoes or Guardian boots. You can use an assassin jacket or Guardian armor. I don't believe Guardian armor puts you in combat. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Yeah,
So
it shouldn't, but it does.
Okay. So then you probably should use either an assassin jacket or is there any good plate armor other than that?
I mean, Guardian armor is good because it has the highest armor value of all the
Yeah.
armors.
So you just don't
So
use the
that'll
skill, basically.
benefit your mount. You just can't use the ability.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah. So Guardian armor or assassin jacket, basically. Then the helmet, I would suggest using a soldier helmet, since it gives you the immunity for 2 seconds or 1.5 seconds. Let's check. 2 seconds. So you can't be CC'd and you can't be damaged at all. So it can be helpful getting through to the other side of that wall, or getting through the portal or something. If you're
Especially since most gankers are just going to all drop. So if you get them in that 2-second window, you'll be home free.
Yeah. So it's really mwah. A food you're most likely gonna be using pork pies just for the transporting, carrying a bit more. Potions, either gigantify potions or invisibility potions. Both are great options. Gigantify potion also lets you carry more if you're actually using a mount that gives you carry weight, and if you get dismounted, you lose it. But they're both good solid options. Weapon, like we've discussed before, Bloodletter, Double Blade Staff. I would personally use Bloodletter when you're actually moving stuff because you also get the shield. You could also use the one-handed mace, but I feel the W is a bit iffy. But again, use whatever weapon you like. Try to use a shield. Sarcophagus is probably the best option when you're using an offhand. And then, if you do have a scout, make sure that they're in trash gear with a shitty horse, and that they can just die if necessary, so that you can survive with the transport. So let's say the scout has tier 4 armor. You can have the knight armor for the wind wall to save your transport. You can have, let's say, either a quarterstaff, ironclad, a bedrock mace even, if you're ballsy. Um, what kind of armor could you have? You could have some kind of helmet. Um, you could have the stun helmet is a bit expensive. You could even have a graveguard helmet just to save your transport if your transport also gets dismounted somehow while you're both dismounted. So you could easily save his life with the sacrifice. Boots, something fast, maybe even hunter shoes. Hunter shoes could be pretty solid since you also get the extra CC for your quarterstaff or ironclad or whatever. You could even use fiend sandals if if you want to try and save your friend. You can walk in front of the transport and then fiend sandal yourself and then ironclad, and then that's a way you could save your buddy. Um, yeah, I don't think there's much else. Potion. You could even use a sticky potion to be honest to try and slow down the gankers. And food, omelet if you want to use a food. Um, yeah, I think I've gone through all the subjects for today. If you guys have any kind of questions and would like to ask, feel free to ask now. And yeah, comments. So, which is by far the best solo dungeon build? There isn't really like a best solo dungeon build, but a great solo dungeon build would have to be able to clear decently fast, and as well as to be able to fight 1v2 or even 1v3 if necessary. So I would say the best thing for this would probably be a sword. So it would probably be a carving sword because of the parry. It's amazing when you're doing solo. Also, you have a choice of an AoE Q, and the E also goes through multiple enemies, and you get the mobility from the Q stacks as well as the E. So I would probably be using, excuse me, I would probably be using a carving sword. Um, Chest, I would most likely be using an assassin jacket, just because it can disengage you from the mobs. You can reset. You can start getting that cabbage soup instantly, so you won't actually have to have invisibility potions, but you can have healing potions, which are going to help you a lot when you're fighting multiple players. So yeah, I would say assassin jacket. Something like mage robe could also be solid, but I don't think it's that good against like if you get dove by like 3 or 4 people. It's not gonna help you as much as an assassin jacket.
Does that only proc once, or is it everyone that hits you?
Yeah, so basically you get a shield around you for 5 seconds, and if you get hit, they get purged everything that they have.
Okay, so it's like a status for 5 seconds. Anyone that will trigger it.
Yeah. Also, if you are rich enough or if you're ballsy enough, you can also bring a cultist robe, but it's I would still just go with assassin jacket. Assassin jacket is just so versatile. It's amazing. So yeah.
What
Okay.
about Clarent Blade?
Clarent Blade, I mean, Clarent Blade is also great, but it's not nearly as good for like 1vx. Sure, the E does damage, but it's AoE damage. But the carving is just a bit better, in my opinion at least. I don't know. King Just might know a bit more, but I do feel like carving is the best option for that. Helmet, Guardian helmet. I find it to be the best helmet in the game. It used to be even 15% at some point, and so Guardian helmets used to be 10% and almost nobody used it. It got buffed to 15%, everybody used it. Then it got nerfed to 10%, and I still find it to be just the best. It can purge, or like not purge, but it can cleanse any dots on you, curse dots, bleed dots, um, even like crossbow bomb. It can cleanse that, and it also heals you and your allies around you. But you're not really gonna heal your allies when you're doing soul dungeons. So yeah, I would just say Guardian helmet, the best helmet in my opinion in the game. Hunter Hood, solid option, but you can play around it better, as well as something like Cleric Cal or Mage Cal. Mage Cal is pretty solid. Also, Coolest Cal is pretty solid, but they're not great when you're doing 1vx, 1v3 or something. So I would just go with the Guardian helmet. It's just solid. Boots, you could go with. I'd probably go with Demon Boots, to be honest. Demon Boots, you can run away if you need to, and you can chase players who are fighting you. Since the carving sword gets such nice mobility from its Q stacks, since you do get the 12% movement speed per stack, so you don't need the different kind of boots with run, but Demon Boots are very solid. Any other choice? I would. I guess you could use Shoes of Tenacity, but nah, not really. Scholar Sandals if you need energy, but I would still use the Demon Boots. Cape, either Thetford Cape or Limhurst Cape. I don't think you're gonna run out of energy that badly with the sword. Yeah, I think Thetford or Limhurst Cape is what you wanna use. Limhurst Cape will probably give you a bit more clear speed since you can spam your skills a bit more. Thetford Cape is probably a bit better against 1vx. I mean, they're both solid options. I would say that they both give the same amount of clear speed and same amount of 1vx potential. So yeah, Guardian Helmet, Assassin Jacket, Demon Boots, Carving Sword, and then Thetford or Limhurst Cape. Yeah. Any other questions? I got Discord.
Any recommendations on leveling up monk staff or any of the staffs?
Monk staff or any of the staffs. So you mean quarter staffs?
Yep.
So quarter staffs are, where are they? There.
Soul
quarter
Sight would be the best.
yeah, so I wouldn't say soul sight's the best, but or are you speaking of if you want to level up an artifact quarterstaff?
Yeah,
Yeah, if I
for
wanted
the
to use that
artifacts.
for Albion.
Oh yeah, okay, so for artifacts, yeah, I would say soul scythe is probably the best if you're gonna level up an artifact quarterstaff. Quarterstaffs are mostly used in ZBZs or Avalonian
Hellgates.
dungeons. Um, they're also used in 2v2 Hellgates with certain comps.
And fives, some.
Yeah, and 5 some, but you usually use a normal quarter staff or an ironclad staff in 5v5s. Double bladed, mostly used for ganking or gathering. Some people use it. So yeah, soul scythe, it's it's okay for doing soul dungeons. I would probably go with the same armor that I just told you.
Isn't just Black Monk better since now they reworked it and you can like walk around when you use your E? Like it's just an AoE nuke that basically makes you tanky.
Yeah, but actually, how much damage does this even do? Because it doesn't do that much damage.
Yeah, I don't think the mobs really care in
Yeah,
a solo dungeon. I mean, it does its effect, but
it does some damage, but the soul scythe does basically the same amount of damage overall. Um,
I think it's cheaper even the Black Monk. They are both artifacts. They go towards the same node.
yeah, I mean, okay, so I would probably just say that they're both solid options. Black Monk, you get a bit more AoE and you get the enemies to deal a bit less damage. Cooldowns 20 seconds, while the Soul Scythe has a 30-second cooldown. But the energy cost is a bit higher on the Soul Scythe. Also, the CC can really help you if you're fighting another player. Black Monk, not so much since the other player can just walk out of it instantly. So I would probably go with Soul Scythe myself, at least if I were to level up an artifact quarterstaff.
Just like since we are talking about quarterstaff, is there any place in the world for the Staff of Balance?
Uh, it's sometimes seen in ZBZs. It's rarely seen in GBGs, but not really.
yeah, I was going to say gimmick fives.
Yeah, gimmick vibes basically. It's not really seen almost at all currently in this meta.
Well, I know which weapon I'm gonna level up next.
What else have people messaged me? I have some trouble doing damage with carving. I think it doesn't do good damage. Maybe I'm using the skills in bad order. So, carving sword, if you're killing mobs, you're just gonna be using Qs and auto attacks. That's why maybe Thetford Cape is a bit better, because you can get some more damage on the mobs a bit faster. Parry Strike is what I would use when I'm killing mobs, but not actually like spamming the Parry Strike, but using it only when they're using a big skill. E does good amount of damage. I don't think there should be much of a problem when you're trying to deal damage to mobs. Obviously, it's not going to be nearly as fast as an axe, because axes are just superior. It's like the fastest way to clear dungeons. So it's obviously going to seem a bit slower than using an axe. So that's why you might seem like carving is not doing as much damage. As well, since you probably don't, if you've been leveling up with an axe, you probably don't have as much spec in a carving sword. So that's also why you might see a bit less damage. Parry for mobs too, or just swap that once I'm being ganked. So sword parry, I would always be using that, because usually if you get ganked or like dove, you don't have time to swap. It's just always use parry strike in my opinion. It's also good against mobs because some mobs do like have the big AoE skills or do a big skill every now and then, like the
Banshee.
Yeah, Banshee or like a fire mage or even the dagger boy. He sometimes if you know like when he does the backstab, you can even parry strike that and deal massive damage back to the assassin. So yeah, I would always use the parry strike. Yeah, use some. Yeah. Um. Anything else? For example. Leveling up with friends. Always doing tier 8 solo maps. Yes. Duo. I mean, the best duo is obviously going to be a DPS and a healer, since that's gonna be you can 2v5, 2v10 even if the other players are newbie enough and you're good enough. I would say you should be pretty comfortable at 2v4, 2v5 with a carving and a healer. Healer being either nature, druidic staff, great nature, or some kind of holy healer. But what does your other friend play? Like, does he play DPS? What kind of DPS? 400 in bow. Okay, so you would probably be using a normal bow then. I would say normal bow is the best. You would probably be using the same build I said earlier with the assassin jacket, guardian helmet, and demon boots with the carving sword, and then the normal bow. So the normal bow just stays back, and the carving sword tries to go on them, and then you as a carving sword will have to peel off if any of the gankers go on top of the bow. You have to protect the bow player, since the bow player does massive damage with his E if you just let him shoot. So just try to protect your friend and let him deal the damage, and yeah, just try to protect him. The bow friend should be using uh, Hunter Hood, Mage Robe, Guardian Boots with a Thetford Cape, I would say. You could also swap the Hunter Hood with a Hellion Hood, so that he can just drop that after he uses E, so that he can just free shoot at the enemies. And yeah, just try and focus one target, and once that one target retreats, just swap to another target. Just don't start chasing enemies, since they have the mobility, they're ganking. Yeah, just stay together and try and kill one player off at a time. Anything else? Yeah, no problem.
That's a huge one you just mentioned, because I don't know how many fights that we only broke even with because we started the initial fight, we routed them, and then we went off in 3 different directions hunting down, guys, and we weren't able to like complete the fight because of that. It's a really hard discipline.
Yeah. At best yesterday, you out of the 6.3 million gank. Oh yeah, so that was you with the gathering gear, I assume, and the mounts in your inventory and stuff. Yeah, that just happens if the gankers know what they're doing and there's like a fuck ton of them, then yeah, you're pretty fucked. Even if you're the best at surviving. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? All right. I guess that's it for today. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm not sure about the topic next time yet. I'll probably be talking about Hellgates. I think that's good topic to talk about. I'll probably include 5v5s in there as well. So since I've seen a lot of people being interested in 2v2 Hellgates, 5v5 Hellgates, and GVGs, so I think that's gonna be a solid topic to talk about next time. And next week I'll be putting more events towards actually doing different kind of PvP aspects, also just doing different kind of dungeons and shit. So feel free to hop in anytime you see me on, and feel free to PM me on Discord or in game if you see me, and I'll try to answer your questions as best as I can. Alright, let's stop the recording here. Thank you.